Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is So with Somi. On today's tutorial, I'll be showing how I made this simple Basque waistline top with a puffy sleeve. The one in the middle is the one I made and the one in the side is the inspiration. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you. So for this tutorial, I'm making use of 2 yards of crepe. On my table, I have my pattern paper and I've already marked out my starting line. From my starting line, I came down 9 inches for my chest line, 16 inches for my waist, and the full length of my top is 21 inches. So on my starting line, I divided my round shoulder by 2, which is 7.5. I marked that on the starting line and on the chest line. I'll connect the 2 points together. For my neck width, I made use of a neck width of 4 inches and the depth is 4 inches. So remember, this top has no zipper at the back, and if you want your the depth of your neckline to be low, you can make use of 5-6, but I don't want mine that low. I'll come down 1 inch for my shoulder slope and I'll connect it to the neck width this way. I'll measure out what I have on my armhole and I have 8 inches. Half of 8 is 4. On that point, I came in by half an inch. On the chest line, I'll take my round bust measurement divided by 4 and I'll connect the 3 points together. So I'm going to cover out my armhole. So I'm doing this so that the beginners on my page will understand every step. Now I'm going to add 1 inch for allowance to the top. I added 1 inch allowance to the top, and the stitching allowance for this top is 1.5 inches. 1 inch allowance and 1.5 inches stitching allowance. On the waistline, I'll divide my round waist measurements by 4. I'll add 1 inch allowance to the top and 1.5 inches stitching allowance. And I'll connect the 2 points together. But before I do that, I'll check what I have on my chest line to be sure my measurement is correct. Now I'm going to connect the 2 points together. So before we mark out our backs, so remember the 1 inch we added for allowance to the top, not the stitching allowance. We are going to connect the 2 points together. The 1 inch allowance we added, we're going to connect it together this way. So from that 1 inch allowance, that is where we'll be curving out our backs. See the way my hand is going? We'll be curving our backs from there, not from the 1.5 inches stitching allowance, because we're still going to stitch in this 1.5 inches allowance. So from that 1 inch allowance, I'll connect it this way down to my top length this way. So this is what we have. Now we are done. Isn't that easy? All we have to do now is to cut out. So guys, if you find this tutorial very interesting, please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any tutorial you want me to recreate, you can send me a DM at SoWithSomi on Instagram. So after cutting out my front piece, this is what I have. Now this is my back piece. I drafted that off camera just like I did for the front. I came down 9 inches for my chest line, 16 inches for my waist. My neck width is 4 inches and the depth for the back is 2 inches, and I curved out my armhole. So just like I did for the front, that is the same thing I did for the back. So if you place the two of them together this way, you will notice that they are matching on the waistline and the armholes are matching. So if you have it this way, just know that your pattern is correct. So all I will do now is to cut out on my fabric. I've placed my fabric into 2 and I've placed my pattern on it, and I used the chain and I used what they call it, pins to hold it down. So I added half an inch stitching allowance to the hem. On the side, I did not add stitching allowance. So guys, I made a mistake. For me, I would advise to use a thick fabric. Use a thick fabric or add an interfacing. Like this top, I actually struggled with this top, but at the end of the day, I came out winning. So after cutting out, I have 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces for the back. So I'm going to take off the pins so that we'll see what we have. So I have both the main piece and the lining for the front. I'll stitch the neckline by half an inch. I'll stitch the side, stitch the hem. Like I'll stitch all around, leaving the armhole and the shoulder open. So I'm going to get my back piece. I'll open it up this way. I'll place the lining on the main piece this way, arranging everything I'm just arranging to be sure that everything is matching. I'll take it to the machine. I'll stitch the neckline by half an inch. I'll stitch the side. I'll close the hem. I'll close the two side and the hem. But before I do that, remember this top has a belt. I'll come up by 2 inches on the top. That is where I want my belt to start. So the length of my belt is 30 inches and the width is 1.5 inches. I'll place it on it this way and I'll close with the lining. I'll do the same for the other side. I'll take it to the machine. I'll stitch the side, close the hem, leaving the armhole and the neckline. So after stitching, this is what I have. This is for my front piece and I've equally ironed it out. So guys, please remember to add interfacing to this. Please add interfacing so that it can have a little structure. So this is my back piece. I've ironed everything out and this is my belt. Everything is looking nice and clean. So I'm going to open up my front piece this way. I'll place the back on it. I'll stitch the shoulders by 1/2 inch. So for the side, I will be stitching with 1 inch. Remember, we added 1.5 inches and we've used 1 inch, 1/2 inch already. So the allowance we have left is 1/2 inch. This is the piece I'll be using for my sleeve. The length is 28 inches and the width is 11 inches. So from the starting line, from the tip of the fabric, I'll come down 4 inches for my biceps. So I'm marking out 4 inches. So guys, if you want me to make a detailed tutorial on how to cut a sleeve, please drop a comment on the comment section. So from the tip of the fabric, I'm going to cover out my armhole. This is just like when you're drawing X. That is how I learned to draw out my sleeve, like to cover out my sleeve if I'm not doing it in a professional way. So just like when you're drawing X. So after covering out my armhole, I'm going to take my round armhole measurements plus 1 inch stitching allowance. So after I've gotten that, I'm going to mark it out. So from that point, I'm just going to take it all the way down to the full length. So remember, this top has which is a puffy sleeve, so we're going to take it down all the way to the full length. So at this point, I couldn't find my ruler and my tape came to my rescue. After marking it out, I'll cut out the excess I have there. So I'll take out one piece so that I can use the other piece to demonstrate. So remember, this sleeve is a puffy sleeve. So now I'll turn it to the wrong side. What we have here is the right side. So looking at the stream, you see that the puffiness started from the upper parts. So now I'll turn it to the wrong side and I'll mark 12 inches. That is where I want my puffiness to start from. The one on the picture started from the upper parts. So depending on where you want yours to start from. So for mine, I want mine to start from 12 inches. So from the shoulder line, I came down by 12 inches. I marked out 12 inches. This is where I want my gathers to start from, or my ruching to start from. So now I'll get my elastic to demonstrate. I'll place it this way. So as I'm sewing, I am drawing my elastic and it will be gathering. So at the hem of the sleeve, I'll fold in by 1/2 inch and I'll fold it again by 1/2 inch and I'll add my elastic to it to gather it. So I'll measure my round waist this way. I'll cut out elastic for it. For the hem, I'll fold in 1/2 inch, I'll fold again by 1/2 inch and I'll add my elastic to it. So I'll take it to the machine to stitch it, then I'll bring it back to show you. So after stitching my top, this is what my front looks like, and if you turn it, you'll see this is what my back look like. Everything came out looking nice. This is for my sleeve. You see I have ruched it. This is it. I've ruched it. And for the hem, I've equally added my elastic. So what I'll do now is I'll place the two of them together this way, making sure that everything is sitting properly. I'll take it to the machine. I'll stitch with 1 inch. So let me show you the one I've done. So this is the one I've done off camera. You see how it looks. It looks super neat and beautiful. So this is the wrist and this is the sleeve, the puffiness. So to join the sleeve to the top, I'm going to open my seam this way. I'll open my seam, the seam of my top. For the sleeve, I'll open the sleeve, the seam this way. I'll place the two of them right side facing each other this way. You can pin it. I'll take it to the machine. I'll stitch with half an inch all around. So I'll do that and bring it back to show you what I have. So after stitching, this is what I have. Everything came out together looking so nice. So guys, like I said, add interfacing to this. It will make it look more sturdy. So at the end of the day, this is what we have. I'll see you on my next video. Bye.